With 70 votes in favor and 29 against, the Senate today passing the security supplemental package the White House requested late last year. The bill includes $95 billion in foreign aid and no border security measures. NTD's Luis Martinez has the details.
After 4 months of private negotiations, the Senate approved early this Tuesday morning a $95 billion package. The foreign aid package was approved by the Senate with the support of 22 Senate Republicans. This despite the opposition shown by former President Donald Trump and Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, during a press conference, touted the bill's passage in the Senate.
We can say it's been worth it. Today we witnessed one of the most historic and consequential bills passed the Senate.
The Senate bill would see over $60 billion of aid go to Ukraine, $14 billion to Israel, and over $4 billion to Taiwan and U.S. partners in the Indo-Pacific to deter Chinese aggression. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky took to social media to thank the U.S. Senate.
The Senate has just voted to continue the support of our country and our warriors. This is a decision that we have worked very hard for, a decision that has been awaited not only by us, but by many other nations, particularly in Europe.
We spoke with Republican Congressman Keith Self from Texas. He did not share the Ukrainian president's optimism.
How tone deaf do you have to be to pull the most important domestic issue out of a bill and send it to the House with only Ukraine and Israel on it?
President Biden urged House Republicans to immediately put the foreign aid package to a vote, despite the lack of border security provisions.
For Republicans in Congress who think they can oppose funding for Ukraine and not be held accountable, history is watching.
The $95 billion foreign aid package now faces an uphill battle in the House. Speaker Mike Johnson is now the gatekeeper who will determine whether this bill, as approved by the Senate, will ever see the House floor. Reporting from our nation's capital, Luis Eduardo Martinez, NTD News.
And House Republicans demanding transparency into President Biden's interviews with the Special Counsel. What they also want is for the Special Counsel himself to testify about Biden's mental acuity. Joining us now live is NTD's White House correspondent Iris Tao. Good evening, Iris. So what is the latest fallout from the Special Counsel's report last week?
Good evening to you, Steve. The report, which called out Biden's, quote, poor memory, but also reasoned against prosecuting Biden for his handling classified documents, is now prompting Republicans in Congress to demand more answers. 3 House committee chairs are now giving the Justice Department until next Monday to turn over a transcript of President Biden's interviews with Special Counsel Robert Hur, along with any recordings related to it. Republicans say it's needed for their impeachment inquiry into President Biden, adding that they want to find out if any of the classified documents that Biden retained were actually related to any of the foreign country that his family was allegedly doing business with. And another reason they say is that they want to see if the Justice Department was being even-handed in its treatment with former President Trump and with President Biden. And President Trump has been calling out what he called a 2-tier justice system, but some Democrats are now accusing Republicans of spreading propaganda about President Biden's mental acuity. Watch.
He's fine. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity is declined is wrong. He's going to win the election because he has a great record.
He willfully stole gigantic numbers of classified documents, willful. But because of his condition mentally, is this guy going to make it to the starting gate, seriously?
A poll released on Tuesday by Reuters shows that more than half of Americans think that President Biden got special treatment as the president for not getting charged for his handling of classified documents. Republicans are also reportedly trying to get Special Counsel Robert Hur to testify about his report on Biden. Meanwhile, the White House has not ruled out actually releasing a redacted version of the transcript of Biden's interviews with Hur, and saying that his lawyers are looking into that question. Steve.
And this evening, House Republicans are launching a second attempt to impeach DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. This after a failure to impeach him last week due to 3 Republican defectors. Can they pull it off tonight? NTD's Melina Wisecup reports.
Republicans are eager to redeem themselves after failed back-to-back votes last week, one on an Israel aid package, the other on the DHS Secretary's impeachment. The slim majority is now kicking off their week by holding a second vote to oust Mayorkas. Undeterred, House Speaker Mike Johnson recently vowed that this time they'll have the votes.
Mayorkas needs to be held accountable. The Biden administration needs to be held accountable, and we will pass those articles of impeachment. We'll do it on the next round.
The vote count has changed today because Majority Leader Steve Scalise is back in town. He's returning after undergoing blood cancer treatment. Now with Scalise's vote this evening, Republicans will just barely be able to pass this impeachment, even with those 3 Republican defectors, Congressman Gallagher, McClintock, and Ken Buck. Democrats, meanwhile, are unified in opposition, calling it a political hit job and a waste of time.
What does the impeachment of Secretary Mayorkas have to do with fixing our broken immigration system and addressing the challenges at the border? Absolutely nothing.
And this strong Democrat opposition means it will go nowhere in the Democrat-controlled Senate. But the congressman leading the effort, chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, Mark Green, recently told me he still thinks it's worth it.
You can't have someone just totally disregard the separate but equal branch of government. I mean, you can't do that. So again, if it was a Republican, I'd do the same thing. And whether it passes or succeeds in the Senate or not, I have a duty to do what's right.
That second vote is set for 6:30 p.m. tonight. At the very least, it will show where House Republicans stand on the issue and give them a campaign talking point heading into the 2024 elections. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weiskup, NTD News.
Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.